Sorry for talking with my mouth full. We're just having some strawberries and cream for our pudding.
Very nice. Are they your own strawberries, Jez?
Truth or a lie?
Well, preferably the truth, but if you want to tell a lie, crack on.
No, they're not. No, they're
not. I was having flour this year.
All right.
This is the kind of shit these two talk about.
Listen, I've listened to them all. I've listened to them all in 2 weeks. I've heard this shit all.
Joe, you get 3 good years out of the strawberry plant, then you got to start again, mate.
There you go. There you go.
Fucking Alan Titchmarsh over there.
You're listening to Housecast, the official Lowerhouse Cricket Club podcast. Shout out to our sponsors Spoonful of Sweets, Virtual Food Service, Milltown Pies and Rexel. Up the house.
Gary, no. Well, this is the kind of chat that we need.
Kevin's finest.
You've got to evolve as a podcast, haven't you? So, Jez, thank you for that. I will rip them out.
So we've not even done an introduction yet, but I like the little chats we have in between. And we do record it, listeners, and sometimes it needs editing if someone does something inappropriate, and there's a few on this call tonight that might say a few things that maybe they shouldn't, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So, quick introduction. Don't forget, everyone, look at the website, look at the sponsors. Make sure you support the sponsors and follow the podcast. Welcome to the Housecast, the Lowerhouse Cricket Club's. I keep using legendary, but we've been going for so long now. We're probably up to 110, 115 episodes. And there's people around different clubs and even some people I used to work with that have found it somehow and they think it's really funny. I find it quite frustrating most times, but no, we really enjoyed doing it, and this is the second one in the space of a couple of weeks, so we're well up there, and there's a few people. I don't know if it would do to give us the title "We Only Podcast When We Win In," but let's go around the room. Let's introduce the hosts who are on tonight to give us hopefully a little bit of insight into the most recent games, but also then to go on to our guests. So, first of all, Joe Martin, great win at weekend. How are you doing after that?
Yeah, excellent. Really good team performance, Jez.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of contributed with the bat, which was good, and dug in, and then bowled and fielded really well. Tom Walker and Paddy were outstanding first up.
Yeah, they were.
So,
it was a great performance, Joe. But we'll talk about that in detail when we get into the podcast. How are you keeping?
Yeah, grand, thank you.
Okay, you're coping with this weather? A bit warm at the moment for those who.
This is my kind of weather, Jez. I'm a sun seeker, as people know.
Right. Okay. What sort of fact have you been putting on?
Do you know I don't put any sun cream on?
That's daft.
I just wear really big hats and long sleeve shirts.
Yeah. All the time.
Yeah, pretty much. Paddy says I've got the arms of a dead person.
Oh well. Let's go on to our official selector, who will no doubt be taking a lot of the credit for the current form of the first team. Dooch, how you going on?
Good, thank you. Good, thanks. I just echo what Joe said about Sunday's game against Darwin. Thought they were superb. Fielding, I thought, was top drawer. Held all our catches. Saw us implement a bouncer plan against one of their batters, which I don't think I've ever seen a home team do at Lowerhouse. Put a man out at deep square, bounced him and hit it straight to him, almost straight away, which I've never seen happen before. Henry took a very good catch. So, yeah, I thought the team were excellent on Sunday. Very good.
Yeah, 100%, Joe. I think there are a lot of us watching from ball one right through, and it will be going through a little bit more detail, but I'm a little bit more excited about something else we've got to chat to. Gaz, thanks for joining us. Is it as nice down there as it is?
It's lovely, Jez. I was just going to do a bit of housekeeping, and then events caught up with me. But I've had a letter off National Grid, right? Ages ago, I've texted it. Don't forget your electricity is going off at 9 o'clock. So here I am, 8 o'clock, bob on, ready to join in. And what do the buggers do? An hour early. So I'm on my mobile now. So if it gets a bit ropey, that's why.
Right. Okay. That was funny. That I'm on my mobile. I'm on the mobile. Anyway, thanks, Gaz, for joining us on your mobile. That's really good of you. We'll come on to you.
Modern technology for you, Jez. It's fantastic, isn't it, really?
Well, I did start off on the PC, and Chris and all that, and then literally just as you started introducing everyone, I bombed out. You
Oh,
go.
you're joking. Well, anyway, you're sounding good there, Gaz. It's all coming through loud and clear, and hope it is for everyone else. We've lost a co-host. Anyone know where he's gone?
Would he be walking dog, maybe?
He could be, yeah, or yeah, I don't know, out shopping. Anyway, for the listeners, Gav
Having
Shields
electric
is,
company. He's probably switched it off up there and all.
yeah, it could be. Gav Shields is coming on as well. Gav's not available as much as he used to be, but he does like to do the what day is it? Tuesday.
Is Jez's Wi-Fi ropey for everybody else, or is that just
Yeah.
me?
Yeah, he's got a
Oh,
lot
cool. I
of
thought it was me.
To dump a log, and then we'll be back.
Yeah,
Is that
Jez, your
right?
internet's a little bit ropey because we only got a very brief piece of that last
Well, let's
sentence.
just keep the listeners entertained. John.
Jez, you just sound a bit like Norman Collier.
Joe, have you told Jez what we were up to last week and where we were?
Oh no, I didn't. No, I didn't get a chance.
Well, go on then.
Jez, me and Joe
That
Beneduce.
should work better now.
Yeah, lovely. Me and Joe Beneduce last week were in London
What's Joe now?
watching.
This is calamitous.
Have I gone? Hello?
Look at that face, Joe Martin. You look so intent.
What a loss of recording there, will we, if Joe dropped off?
Still says it's recording at this end.
Yeah, it does he? Yeah.
I will see where
Yeah.
we get. Chippy, this doesn't normally happen. Just
No
for the
problem.
record.
Listen, it's all good with me.
Well-
Jez, you want to hear that then? So I'll go over it again. Me and Joe Beneduce were in London watching Bruce Springsteen. We went to Wembley Stadium
Well
to
done.
watch the Boss.
Fantastic. Was that impromptu or was it a planned outing?
Well, we planned
Booked
it.
independently.
Bought the tickets
Booked
and stuff,
independently.
but they were not
Yeah.
together. But we had a lovely meal on Thursday, didn't we, Joe? Went on the
We did.
tube and stuff.
We also saw a musical dog on the underground. There's a dog learning to play the trumpet on the underground.
Right.
Yeah. He's gone from
What was
barking to tooting in 45 minutes.
We planned that for 3 weeks.
Like it.
But we did genuinely go to London.
Gav's not with us. Can you? I'm going to introduce the guest, right, and stop messing about because we've got a few issues here with the internet, which I think has just cleared itself up. Hopefully, Gav can get back on. But my other computer's in the other room. I've just been back, but it doesn't really matter. We can manage. This individual, I've known him for probably going on 35 years, maybe a touch longer. I know about him. Played a lot of cricket with him. A real cricket character like there are down at Lowerhouse and other clubs. It's cricket has got these types of people in. Some fantastic times together, some really good, fun, tough times, some great cricket. He was a fantastic cricketer. And then he fell off the earth for half an hour or so, and we couldn't find him. And I tried to trace him a couple of times, knocking on doors and ringing landlines and sending letters. I just didn't get any replies. And right out of the blue, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I got a message. I've got your number off Adam. Can you give us a call? So I did, and I stood on my drive for 45 minutes on a video call with this lad and laughed my socks off. What a character. So just welcome Andrew Chippendale. Chippy, welcome on the Housecast.
Cheers, boys. Thank you.
How you doing?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Very good.
Fantastic. I mean, we could probably, me and you, spend 45 minutes talking about the same things we spoke about a couple of weeks ago, to work out, what you've been up to, the great times you had. We're not going to go in here about, difficult times that we've all had. We will address things, but it was so good to listen to you and see you, and then you came to the Littleborough game away. Did you have a good time there? That was good
yeah,
fun?
It was good. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Bit too intense for my liking. Bit more intense than nowadays, Jez. But yeah, no, very good.
Yeah, and it was good to catch up there, and the different other spectators walking around, seeing you, and having the odd memory, Dooch and Joe Martin and Matt Stanley and whatever. You had a good game again there, I think, and like you said, they are intense at side. So it was really good to catch up. What I want to do, Chip, is just, we're just going to go through early stages of your career. I'd like you to do most of the talking. People listen to the podcast, and I'll come on to the podcast in a minute when I've about what me and you spoke about. But just to explain to you, I'll ask you a few questions. The lads on the call will throw in a few questions as we remember what we've done and going back all those years. But don't be concerned about, having a good laugh and talking. People are interested in what you've done, what Dooch has done, what I've done, what Gary's done, etc. They are interested, so don't feel that people don't want to listen. But I'll come to that in a second. I think we've got Gav back. Gav, can you hear us? We can't see you.
Yeah, no, I'm struggling to get my camera on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. It's sometimes a bad thing not having you on screen.
Give us a thumbs up, Gav. Give us a thumbs up.
I'm giving. Yeah, sorry, chaps.
All right. What happened?
PC's a shite. Oh, there we go. Hey, can you see me now?
You could have made your bed.
I must in back room. I must in spare room.
Right, no worries. So, Gav, you've not missed a great deal. We've just gone round. So, for the listeners, Gav Shields is a great co-host. We adopted him probably halfway through the last 12 months or so when we needed a few extra ones, and it's been absolute valuable to us. A great asset, real intense getting into his cricket. So, how you going, Gav?
Yeah, all right, mate. Yeah. Looking forward to this. Looking forward to catching up with Chippy. Happy days. Yeah, it'd be good.
Yeah. Well, we just, I don't know if you caught that, but we're just going to talk a little bit about how Chippy started playing cricket, as a young kid. We all know he played at Burnley at that time. And then just the progression as it went through from there. We are going to talk about the Darwin game on Sunday, Gav. I know you were there. We had a catch up. We'll go into more details around it, but a great win. I think it was the performance was as good as I've seen for quite a while. Do you have a take on it?
Yeah, pretty much that really. We're building such a big game in it, weren't it? And did really well to get that score on board. Point in, can we get to 180 to get to 200? Psychologically that's always great, isn't it? And then what a start in that second innings, and it just seemed to. We put him under pressure and just never took his foot off the throat. Great performance by the team, and there were a good crowd on, it were a fantastic result, absolutely superb. Bring on the Burnley. Yeah,
exactly, and I'm sure we will go into that if we have time. I anticipate this could be a 3-episoder really if we get Chippy talking and we can have a good laugh at some memories. But so Chip, we'll come back to you as our guest. We had another guest lined up to come on with Chippy. We're really good mates with him, my brother Matt Hope, but unfortunately he's come down with some sort of lurgy. I don't know whether it was 28 cans of Stella on Sunday and he's still struggling, but he can't make it, he says. But we'll manage. We might get an odd guest that dips in and out, because so many people want to catch up with Chip. Chippy, what I want to do is just a big open question to you. Just tell us about your early cricketing career. We all know, your mum and dad and what they did for Lowerhouse towards the end. Just tell us how it all started at a young, whatever age you want, and how the career developed in Burnley.
So, really, I started playing at school, junior school, and I just thought, quite like, look at that job behind stumps, really, with gloves on. So I'll have a bash at that, albeit just a tennis ball. But yeah, no, I went for that. So I played at junior school up at St Andrews. Against, I think we played against Stoney. I really enjoyed it. Got a couple of catch. Not even got a stumping at that early age at 10-year-old. But yeah, no, I loved it. And then I moved to Ted's, and I wasn't allowed to trial for the school team because I wasn't affiliated with the club. So unfortunately, I had to go to Burnley practice to be able to get into school team trials, because unfortunately I didn't know there was another club in Burnley, even though my grandfather and father were born on Lowerhouse Fold. So unbeknownst to me, there were only one team in Burnley. I'm sorry about that one.
But Chippy, I think you've spoke to Stan, haven't you, really, about I never knew that. I don't know about Gary and others, but Stan always gives you about, your grandpa, your granddad and living in the Grove. you know,
Well,
obviously,
see, my parents, well, my dad and my granddad, obviously, like I said, they were born up Fold, and all my granddad were big
right?
See, first time I went to Lowerhouse, he asked me for he said my granddad owed him a £5. I shit myself. Because he weren't the most approachable guy, were he? And I shit myself. So you ready, Chips, grandson? Yeah. Yeah, well, tell him he owes me £5. Makes me winning. And then fell off floor. 18-year-old.
And that's Jack, innit? That's Jack.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Jack, obviously, because he were pals with my granddad, he were right as rain with me. Great guy. Absolute legend.
Yeah, so that is when you've come down to Lowerhouse, obviously, not when you've played at
No. See, obviously, I played for Burnley from 1980s. I played under 13s, under 15s, under 18s. And did I enjoy it? Not really. But them days, I never knew of a rivalry between Burnley and Lowerhouse. I even never knew about that, playing third team and second team.
Oh.
I thought I only knew the rivalry when obviously I crossed the town. And did I know about it then?
I've got a job, Martin. I'll bring you in a second, but that is so interesting because I do wonder, you know, and I'm going to, you know, probably belittle Lowerhouse a bit here, and I'll see what Gary thinks. I do look back now, you know, it was all about, you know, we had to beat Burnley and we had to do this. But I'm not sure that came back from Burnley. I don't think they were that arsed about us, Gaz. Do you think that's about right? I mean, it hurts to say it.
No, I've got to disagree, Jess, because I think the reason I left Burnley and went down out were because on day of game 3rd-11 down at Lowerhouse playing for Burnley thirds, Jack stopped turfing me out, me and my brother out at team. We were there, changed the dressing room in his whites. I spoke about that on a previous episode. So that were my intro that I knew were like there was something serious going on between the two clubs, really. And plus, obviously, my dad had played down there, so he gave me shit when I went down netting at Burnley anyway. But just go on to the jacket, stay on the Jack Hayes thing. When he found out you were coming, he pinned me in the bar and he said, "What's this about? We're getting someone from Burnley playing down here. Is he a good un? Is he a good un?" I said, yeah. You know, we need. That's how we know we need a stumper. No. I said, but we've struck lucky here. We'll be all right. Well, he better have me because this lot won't give him 2 minutes if he's not good. So I thought, right, okay, fair enough. Right, thanks for your support, Jack.
Great memory, Gaz. That is a fantastic memory. Joe Martin, you were going to say something earlier?
No.
But
anyway,
I don't mean that as a belittling Lowerhouse. It's when you're a kid. I don't think you have that. You don't have that drive, do you? You're just playing another team, and I never knew of the rivalry, even playing second team, because I used to go to school. We obviously Penneth, your Matt, Ryan. Obviously, they were older than me, but I knew them, so they were lads I knew. So it weren't. I never looked at it like they play for. I play for Burnley.
Yeah. And I know you weren't, Chip. You know, you're a young kid and you've played in this. We've all been there. Parents pushing us. You know, I would imagine that the setup, you know, in what would it have been probably late 80s when you were coming through to the under 13s, you know, towards, you know, the 90s, that you would think about anything that went on in the rivalry side. But I think it's fair to say you made your debut when you were 17 for Burnley. Do you want to talk us through that and how that came about?
So I'd been doing quite well at second team, and obviously I'd been involved in the charade that was Burnley selection. Now that's a separate episode, Joe. You're laughing. Oh my God! If you want to go to a club and fall out with the love of playing cricket, that was definitely the place to be, because it was just a charade, honestly.
Hey,
So
Chippy, not all clubs have a well-run selection committee. You know, you don't know how lucky we are.
People lost the jobs if I kept in first team at Burnley. People would have lost the jobs. That's how serious it was.
That's pressure.
So I had to. So I played at East Lancs away, and we had Sam Skeeter's pro, and they had Tony Doddermay, ex-Lowerhouse.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it went all right. I was 17. I got a catch off the human mummy, Paul Blakey. Everything was good. I'm happy with my performance, and then I got shoveled back into the second team game at week after.
Right. Right. So we're talking 92. He said, I don't want to kick the arse out of this really. Burnley are a great side, and history shows the trophies they've won and the leagues they've won. You're coming in. I think Andrew McLeod would have probably been stumping them, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Was he
Yeah.
young kid, and he's a little bit older.
He's a year older than me.
Okay. So Andy's wicket keeping, a good lad. It's his problem. He played for Burnley, but that's by the by. You've got your chance for whatever reason, and then you're back in the second team, and that's still in the 1992 season. So talk us through the rest of that season, and then how you developed and came to come to Lowerhouse.
Well, I ended up playing about 6 more times that season for first team, but believe it or not, played as a batter, which again caused absolute upheaval, because then I was a hated man by the likes of Shaky, Terry Little, because they were being dropped at seconds and I'm in first team as a batter. Whereas I could hold my own with a bat in my hand, but I'm not a batter, I'm a wicket keeper.
Yeah.
It just got far too political. So I just said, look, listen, stick me in second team.
Right.
And I don't know if it was that season or the season after. Yeah, it was the season after. I just played the full season in the twos, I think. Just said, look, I'll just play second team, because at the end of the season, to be honest, Jez, that was me done with it. I was done, because a young lad shouldn't have to go through that.
But you're 18. You've clearly, and again we'll go on to this with the other horse. And it's difficult. It's not difficult, because I can say this to you because I know you so well. But a natural wicketkeeper, I've probably not seen a better one. And that includes the lad on this call. It includes the lad who played for Lancashire. Obviously, he was older when he came to play for us. But the way you handle the ball, the way you managed wicket keeping was fantastic. So to be stuck in the seconds at 18, what you're saying there is you were probably done with cricket. Is that correct? Would you have probably?
And it's not because of that. I just thought I can't be part of this political thing where it turned the club upside down. Seriously, turned the club upside down. There were fallouts, there was selection. It was just mayhem. And I just thought, this isn't for me then.
Okay, that is difficult for you. And sorry if I interrupt you there. It's difficult for you. Let's move on to some, happier times and the fact that you moved away. So just talk us through why you crossed over Centenary Way and went down Rosie Road to Lowerhouse.
I'm glad you got a smile on your face, Jeff. Because I was playing at home for Burnley second team against Nelson, and there was a Burnley FC game, home game on, and 2 well-uniformed policemen walked straight towards me after I were out and said, if you don't sign for Lowerhouse, shit out of you.
You're bad in that Stan, innit? Stan is a bad
Yeah. And then, but I don't know if that season, I don't know if you said something to me as well. Because if you look at one of my scores, I got 50 against Lowerhouse in twos. Worst thing is Gaz got me out. But I don't know if you said something to me as well, Gaz, after that game as well. I'm sure you did. Not that we're doing a tapping up job here, but I think it didn't need much tapping up, did it, really?
No, it possibly doesn't. And it was clear that it was the stars were aligned and the
Absolutely, it was the right thing for me to do.
Yeah, and at the right time. It was at the right time.
And especially with my family being from Lowerhouse, then that's the right place for me to be.
So the start of the 1994 season is your debut. Is that correct? 17th of April.
Yeah.
You've been to the nets. You've been to the sports and dinners. You've met us and socialised with us. What's your memory of? And I've got it in front of me, so I can show off a little bit. It's not just my memory. What can you remember about that first game? Gary Moore was captain. Talk me through 17th of April, 1994.
It's not. Do you know something? I'm not really good at that, at memories. But I'm so nervous. But obviously we played a game, I think, round Easter time, where we had a bit of a bowlers versus batters.
Yeah.
And I ended up going on turf with Penny and Matt and that. And that was the first time they got me absolutely bladdered. So I thought, we're in for a messy, a shocker. So that was like my initiation, weren't it? Fill me bag for a £5.
Yeah. Just that you can't just throw that one line in, Chip, and then not give a.
So we went to McDonald's before we went on the turf, and just the character that I am, Matt ordered his food, Penny ordered his food, Proc ordered his, and she looked at me, and I just thought I need to make a statement. So I just said, "Fill me back for a £5," and she did. I had all sorts of, because that was back, I had an apple pie, I had this, I had another in my bag, just fill my bag for £5. And Matt Oak, we just bent double laughing. And I thought, I'm at right place here.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. And then, so you're right there. I can't remember. I hope Gary, I'll give Gary a bit of notice, see if he can remember. We always had, for the listeners' benefit, back then, we would always have a sportsman's dinner that was organised by the players, and it kept the club afloat. I'm not blowing trumpets of Tony Woodworth or other people who ran it, but it kept the club afloat. And that season we had Craig Light as a professional, a young South African. No one knew a great deal about him. He looked a bit like a robot, a little Arnold Schwarzenegger, really proper African lad. We played a couple of friendlies. Can you remember, Gaz, the sportsman dinner? Who was there? Who spoke that year?
Can't, Jez, to be honest. Can't remember many of those events beyond middle at night, but middle of the evening. Sorry.
No, but we would have them, say, the end of March, early April. Then we'd have some friendlies. It would introduce the pro. There's some classic one-liners from other pros that were there. And then we turn up playing Rami at home. And again, I'm not relying on memory. I've got it on the laptop here. Lowerhouse, we won the toss against a Rami side. And you look at that side that's there. You know, they're all top-class players. Ian Bell, Brian Taylor, Steve Dearden, Robert Haynes Pro, Jack Simpson, Dentith, Ratcliffe. You know, some top players. And we beat them. And it's Chippy's debut.
And I think the only person I wanted to catch out that day were Brian Taylor.
And you did?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, Matt Oak caught Chippendale. So they got 1-9-2. And I do remember this game for some reason, you know, quite vividly. And then Craig went out and got 122 in 133 balls. And, you know, as I said, Gary, you got a good tidy 34 not out to see us home. Nicky and Blaise, you know, 10-1. But we beat them quite convincingly with about 4 overs to spare. So that's your initiation, if you will, Chip, that month or so before that, the training. And we did train hard, as much as these young spunkers think we didn't work hard. We did work hard, we did get into it. And the season's rolling. So, again, over to you, Chip. Talk us through that season and what the friendships you made, what you made of the club and how it was run.
Well, for a young lad coming across from Burnley and then coming in, not knowing, obviously I knew of you guys, Penneth, Prot, Blaise, because I think that summer the summer before I'd been on a tour with Abigail down to Taunton. So I'd spent some time with Blaise and what was the other teacher called with curly hair? Steve Campbell.
Steve Campbell, yeah.
Steve Campbell. So I kind of got to know Blaise then, but for a young lad coming across that divide, I couldn't have been made more welcome with Strad. It were amazing. And I knew that season, tough initiation, because I don't think Craig Light was a bowler.
No, he darted it, didn't it?
Yeah, and it was difficult. So it was a tough learning curve, I think. But I think I did all right. I think I had some decent batting performances that season as well.
Yeah, you did. You did far better than all right, Chip, because it was, you know, that, and this is no disrespect, and you know, obviously Higgett goes down legendary status, and the other stumpers that have played for us previously, you know, Chris Scott, and then we've got Nicky, Charlie, Frank, other people who've filled in, but it is so difficult to play with, you know, not a regular stumper. So you did fantastically well, Chip. So we'll get that out there. So next game we trot away and we win again.
Yeah, I can't remember. I can't remember that season, mate.
It's only because I've got him in front of me, really, Chip.
And I know did we win the first 3?
I think at least
first 3, second bottom.
Yeah, I think we finished won first 3. I think lost next 3, won 7, and I think we lost 13 on trot. Not that it's scarred me for life. Yeah.
Let's be honest. The pro shut off early doors, really.
Well, what do you mean he shut off? He shut off.
No, he shut off. He shut off.
Oh, he shut off. Oh, I was going to say he shut off his relationship with Gary Bradley.
I don't think he.
I'm not sure he was just that Chip. I think he was quite young. He was a lovely fella, I think, Gary. It's fair to say. I think he was a nice enough chap and could obviously play, but I think he switched off a little bit and he enjoyed the Burnley nightlife. So was that your first season as captain?
Yeah, it was. I think with Craig, as he ended up with not bad end of season stats with that, but he was getting 30s, 40s. He probably ended up averaging 40 odd or something like that over the season. You'd say, well, that's not too, but he won't. I'd rather him get a duck and a 90 following week and a duck and a 90. Because that 90 would probably win us, put us in box seat and win us a good game with all this time we had. But I think, and we were reliant on pros, and I know these days we show, individuals, all 11 should be capable of winning the game. Unfortunately, we've got a team now who's in that position, but back then it wasn't. So yeah, he was fairly consistent, but I think that big score in that first game almost, well, this is easy, and he just. Whereas if he'd have struggled for a couple, I don't know, maybe he'd have dug in a bit more and we'd have got a bit more out of him. But yeah, getting on his wavelength was an art that I don't think if I had another 3 seasons at him, I'd ever get there.
No, I think as well, your relationship between your pro, especially if he's bowling, and your keeper's vitally important. And I don't think they spoke to me.
No,
I can't remember one conversation, just me and him. I just can't.
No.
That's because I was young.
It was definitely, his favourite song was like "What's the Frequency, Kenneth?" Because he was just out there.
Yeah.
Was he a boozer? You mentioned the nightlife. Was he a boozer, Craig?
I would say was what happened was we had, crikey, I used to play football with a lad called Gary Bradley, the goalkeeper, and he was a great lad, a proper nightclub. He was always wanting to be out late. He wasn't a boozer like some of us would be. It's all about having pints before you go. But Craig latched onto him, and he ended up being out with him till all hours in different clubs, doing different things.
Yeah.
And
party animal.
Yeah, party animal, and he loved being over here. South African, probably not anything like it. The clubs and the pubs and everything. I mean, just 2 stories. When he had I think it was Gary Bradley who ended up with his car with Craig in it on the 17th green at Glenview one night. He come off the road, coming over there, and he ends up parked actually on the green. And I think David Renner, someone had to go up and try and help him in the morning to get the car off the green. And then the other one, when we were driving to Todd, he veered off the road, went on the pavement, nearly knocked 2 old ladies over at a bus request. And when we asked him, why have you done that? There was a traffic cop with a speed gun on the road, and he thought someone was trying to shoot him.
I thought that were a wind-up.
No. I mean, he was a good lad and good memories about him, but it was tough for Gary as well at that stage. And I do think that was, I don't know, we might get a bit too deep into it, and I don't want to do that, but that was probably start of Gary's era of, we're going to get more serious, we're going to train, and if people don't come with us, then they might get left out. And we've done that to death on the podcast. Gary swapped the water in the showers to gas, and that's proper done to death. Joe Martin, what's your thoughts around when you go back all those years?
So 1994, I was 6 months old. So I can't quite remember it. But I think my question to you and Gary is, what obviously we'd had, Chris Scott who'd kept wicket, and Iggy had kept wicket for a really long time, and Scotty was a great wicket keeper, as was Iggy. But having a good wicket keeper in your team is really important, regardless of where you are in the table. What difference do you think it made, not just that season, but I guess as you go through Chippy's career, having someone who is completely dependable and competent and excellent behind the stumps? How did that alter your, well, not alter, but how did it make your captaincy, and how did it make your play, I guess?
Well, obviously, first season, we'd already signed Craig, I think, at that point, maybe. So I don't think it was a material factor. And like Chippy says, he wasn't a bowler. But thereafter, it allowed Dave Wren to, because I think, to be fair to Chippy, you look at his stats and sort of pro-rata games, and I'm willing to bet stumpings are as good a total as anyone without really analysing. Craig Light flags for a couple of seasons. Corey, Yarra, that spinning, against spinners all the time, we wouldn't have been able to, or we'd have been taking a larger risk signing, spinning bowling professionals, if we didn't have a a good wicket keeper. That's full stop. And down there, lots of softer tracks, things like that. Ball didn't carry when we did have seam bowlers. Jez might have had a lot more wickets. Chippy would have had a lot more catches. We may not have even signed bowling professional, left arm spinners or slow bowling pros, batters who bowls spin. So it could have totally changed the outlook in terms of the professionals we did go for at that time. And definitely, we knew we got a keeper who was up there with the Jack Simpsons in the league, the Chappies, all those sort of people who were consistently good. You could really rely on them. Very rarely did they have a bad game. We knew we could wind Chippy up if he dropped an absolute screamer down leg side, etc. Because it very rarely happened. And it was good to get a reaction out of him, nonetheless. But it was really, in terms of like areas we like Jez with the bowling and professional Blaze with the batting with the wicket keeping. Those were the constants in the team who, as a captain, you could really rely on.
And honestly, Joe, it is. I think Dooch and Gav have been part of teams. It's so difficult without having a very, a good or a competent wicketkeeper. That's the best way of putting it. And I felt so, times that Charlie or Nicky or Frank used to do it, and they didn't really want to do it. They were doing it to help the team out, and it was hard work for them, which, I do genuinely think it's the most important position within the team. And again, going back to Chippy with that, it wasn't only his competence that would continue to give the team confidence and feel good. He could properly wind things up, and he could, as we will come on to, he would come out with one-liners. Even I tell Chris Scott about him, and he'll wet himself just what Chip was like. But he was always on the edge with Chip. I'm a fair enough saying that, Chip. You were always,
no, absolutely.
It was good fun, but you were very close to going over that.
Yeah.
A few times, I think you did. So that season, just talk us through that. Gary's mentioned about all the defeats. We won the third game at Accrington, and then we had all those difficult defeats. I personally remember it as a very difficult season. It's your first season, Chip. How did you find that?
Yeah, no, it was difficult, but I think we were a new team as well, obviously, under Gary.
Yeah.
And obviously, quite a few of us in that team were finding his feet. I think Penny were in and out of that team. There were a lot of pressure on you, a lot of pressure on Matt bowling, obviously, because Craig wasn't your class as a bowling pro. So, you're not going to get a load of pro wickets. So I think, all in all, I think we got some slappings. But I think what he did do, and we'll probably come on to it, he set us up for a far greater season after.
Yeah. I 100% agree. And like I said, the seasons where you look back and think, I didn't enjoy that one bit. I did enjoy that season. The camaraderie was good. It was a real change. There was a big change going on then with the Higgies, maybe Stan to a lesser degree, but Phil and Scotty. There was a move. Lofty had moved on and gone away, and Gary had to carry that burden for a couple of seasons really there. So you've settled in, Chip. Everything's going as well as can be expected. The social life was just fantastic. The banter, I'm quite a bit older than you, but we still had good nights. We had good fun. Is there anything that sticks in your mind around that first couple of years you were with us?
It was absolute carnage, weren't it? Really, absolute carnage. I mean, I can't even remember what it would have been that bad taste, with vice versa. I can't even remember. Dressed up as all sorts.
Yeah,
it was just madness.
Yeah,
absolute madness.
I think it's worth, Chippy, I'll just put it out there for the listeners. It was very much changing the club. The committee were great with us. They were allowing us to be part of the social side. So we would end up, probably everyone on this call, apart from Adam and Joe, we would have to work behind the bar.
Yeah.
We'd have to, there was a rota. You'd no real choice. I mean, how did we get away with that? You'd not only play cricket Saturday, Sunday, but then you'd have to tell the missus or the girlfriend, and they've got to work behind the bar.
I absolutely loved it, because obviously I was with right crew. I had me, Stanley, your Matt, Payne. Honestly, it were amazing. When they said, Chip, it's your turn to work bar, I couldn't wait. I couldn't pull a pants to save my life, and I weren't bothered. I'll be glass collector, I'll do washing up, it doesn't matter.
Rusty once asked me for a toss-up of a game, if opposition captain would toss up and I could call, because he wanted us to bat second because of the christening, not a christening, a wedding or an engagement or something, and he'd no bar staff. So he wanted us batting second so we could start bar at 6 o'clock. We open bar up for him.
Yeah, and that was the state of it, wasn't it? We'd have to, come back after the away games because we were dealing with the bar. Chippy, there's something just coming to my mind when you were working behind the bar after one game, and it was a busy do, and there were no glasses being collected. Now, I would suggest you don't mention names to save any future issues.
Okay.
Just tell us what happened that night.
So I was doing the washing up, and they said, Chip, there's no pint glasses. I said, right, well, the said person has gone to collect the pint glasses. It's about 20 minutes ago. I said, right, I'll go and have a look. So I made me through the melee of people. It were a 21st do, so a lot of young girls there, a lot of young lads, and I saw the said person in the middle of the dance floor playing tonsil hockey with a female on the dance floor. So I thought, right, well, it's obviously my turn to collect the glasses. So the green crate that you collected the glasses in, that was full, but he decided to play tonsil hockey with some young female on the dance floor.
Yeah, and we know
and he knows who he is.
Yeah. And we always used to get a pint or two for doing all that, by the way. So it was, but there's hundreds and hundreds of stories. So we'll go back to the cricket, Chip, and again, Gary, please chip in. And don't forget, Gav and Duke, just jump in with any questions or anything you want to clarify. But David Wren is getting, at his pomp around this time at the research he's doing for professionals and seeing that we have got a decent young side that are young enough to, to be in the first team for 5 years or more and develop individually, which I genuinely think we all did. And he started to research and look for top quality pros that would suit us. So again, Gary, before we lead Chippy on to how the season went, just tell us a little bit about Flegs, how that came about. I mean, Flegs will probably listen to this. How did that come about, the signing through Renners, and how enthusiastic were you as skipper for that year in 1995?
Yeah, well, we'd set a fairly low bar, haven't we? So in the year before, so I think looking forward to a fresh start and like I said, David done his homework. We discussed slow ball, but particularly left arm. I think maybe Priest was in the league around that time, and a couple of others, and they'd done some damage. Got average amateurs in all sorts of trouble. So, but wanted an aggressive batter, and I think Flegs fit that bill pretty well. Obviously, personality, he was quite driven, and I think he did discuss with Dave. I hadn't talked to him at all before coming over. Dave did all the direct communication, but I remember him asking. He was pretty keen on what's the wicketkeeper situation. So I think that was a position to be in, just to sort of say, so it's taken care of. You just get yourself over here.
Yeah, and that is important, isn't it? When a pro's asking that, I've played in games, I'm sure others have played in games, and I've had a couple of amateurs or sub-pros particularly who played for us who said you need a wicketkeeper. When we've had those Nickies and Franks, because you can't progress, and the pros understand that. So, Chip, with a left-arm orthodox spinner, so generally takes it away from the right-handers. What's your memories of that season? You had 22 victims,
I was steady that season. I enjoyed keeping to Sean.
Yeah.
But I think Sean saw something. I think Sean worked very, very hard with me. And it wasn't so much standing up to him. It was more standing back to you, to Matt. Yeah. He worked on my footwork. He wanted me to keep like an Australian keeper.
Right.
And he'd have me doing drills. So Joe Martin, that's not taking it in front of your body. That's taking it on the inside of your body. So you walk across. So he had me just doing drills constantly. And if during games, if I weren't doing it, I'd be getting shouted at.
With the pro taking an interest like that, how did that make you feel, Chippy?
Yeah, good, because probably the only time a pro's ever really taken a batting pro will work with your batters, a bowling pro will work with your bowlers. You don't really get to work with because what happened.
Mm.
So when Flegs did it, yeah, he made you feel $1 million because
Yeah.
he wanted you to improve. And obviously you'd watched Ian Healy do it, you watched Adam Gilchrist. I never thought of doing it, and he said, I want you to take it there because you're in a better position.
And
Don't get me wrong, when that ball wobbles at Lowerhouse, it can also make you look very daft as well.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, frequently can I?
Yeah,
yeah. It's because to me it sounds like, listening to how you started and how you came to play in the first team at Lowerhouse. It seems like that was probably the first time you had any, kind of coaching or guidance from anybody. Pretty natural as a wicket keeper, natural hands and whatever. So to get into that position and then be able to move on even further is quite brilliant.
The only other person that did anything with me were Bush, and I heard the Bush
right.
one. So Bush used to do some Lancashire coaching, and the only other person is Bush whacking. I can remember him whacking a tennis ball at me.
Right.
On school in Colmsware with a tennis racket, and there were 5 keepers at Lancashire trials.
Yeah.
And he just walloping tennis balls at you. I think that's the only other coaching I've ever had. I'm sure Bush were drunk probably anyway.
I mean, it must. I mean, that's, as you say. It must make you. When you get that attention, which typically, I mean, when you get that attention, it makes a difference, and then you take that into a game, don't you? It makes you feel fantastic when you're keeping in a game as well. So that's fantastic.
And I were lucky that season. So I don't know if Gaz and Jez remember that. Were it Ken Smalley that was chairman then? What were Ken then? Gaz, in yours when we had Flex?
I don't think I think it was Dave. I think Dave was only chairman.
Do you remember when Ken Smalley sorted out the wicket keeping masterclass at Rishton with Bob Taylor?
Chippy, how do you remember that?
Yeah, bloody hell.
Bob Taylor were one, and Gaz, I got told about that at a barbecue at your house when we had all this team round at your house, and Ken Smalley must have rung you and said, I'm trying to get hold of Chippy, and we want him to go to the keeping masterclass with Bob Taylor, and there was me, Vinny Hansen, young lad from Azzy, and I can't, it's like 3 hours with Bob Taylor. Joe, he was one of my heroes growing up.
Yeah,
so
it's
like, that was
fantastic.
That was
and
phenomenal.
it's that when you think back, they're great memories, that Chip, because obviously Ken's long gone now, and him and David were very good friends, and David took over from Ken Smalley as the chair, and then Ken carried on with, and it's just come back to me that he created that for you and for other people. And I know what you said, Chip, going back to Flegs, it's rare, and I can't remember that happening, and he probably did it quietly, but Flegs was very big into, he adored Charlie. He really thought the world of Charlie and brought him on a lot. So that's, that's so good to hear. When you look at, that season again, Colin Miller's in the league, and again, we've won the first 2 or 3 games, I think, but we finished 6th that year, and we've, we're literally 3 or 4 points behind finishing 4th. You've got 22 victims, Chip. You're now getting, you're 20, getting up towards 21. I genuinely thought at that time, and it'd be interesting to see what Joe, Dooch, and Gav think around that period, because you'd have all been pushing and playing. You would have been in seconds, wouldn't you? Then at that time, you two, yeah. Yeah, so it would be interesting to see what you two think around that period, because I genuinely felt, and I don't know why, we've probably spoken about this in a different podcast, that we were going to move on then, and I was going to, maybe finish and retire, and we were going to start winning things at the end of before 2000. Can you remember that period, Gav?
What year was that again, sorry?
95 were Flegs. 94 was the first year when Chippy played. 95 were Flegs. We finished 6th in a good position.
Benedicci were in second team before me, but 95-ish, been in around second team in that, it was the players who were in and around, the players who were getting dropped from the first team into the second team. Again, I think we've talked about this before, but because, like you say, you'd started to win games in the first team, and and the competition for places, there were people coming down to the second team wanting to score runs to get back in, and again, as a young lad, you were thinking, bloody hell, if I'm fed up of batting 8 and 9, I'm going to have to try and, if I want to bat in front of John Prock or someone like that, or Penney, if Penney had been left out, you think, bloody hell, they're slapping it everywhere and making it look easy in second team, getting 70, 80 odd, we're getting 10 with back of his bat. Well, so it went through the club, they're my memories. But like I said, Benedicci were in second team before me, and Charlie and Johnny Russell. But that's my memories from it.
And it does. It's a little bit like the setup now, isn't it? You know, once you get those senior players that are competing, getting scores, but then having a bad trot, they go in the seconds will improve. You know, you would have been in the seconds then. Were you getting a sniff at the first team at all in '95, or were you still a bit young then?
No, my memories of that sort of time, it seemed a million miles away. You know, I'd not really been around Lowerhouse as a kid, so I'd not really watched any first team cricket. You know, I played in the thirds and then played in the seconds. So of course the seconds played on the same day as the first team. So if we weren't playing, you know, the first team weren't playing. So I didn't get to watch any first team cricket. It's just like you just picked up the vibe around the club. But it seemed to me, my memory of it was miles away. We were never going to get it first team. They were miles better players than we were, and we were maybe never going to get it in the first team. That's how it felt to me at that time.
Yeah, and I suppose that is a measure of, you know, I did think you know, my personal view is I did think we were going places around that period. So we beat Burnley at home, Chip, and we got beat away against Burnley. Any other memories around games around that season before we move on?
No, not really. I just know that season we changed as a team.
Yeah.
Don't forget, I do think we could throw some absolutely average performance as a team, and we got some clobberings. But I think we changed when we put somebody under the pump, just grind them down. You knew at certain points we'd win, and we changed that season. And I think Fleggs made us Fleggs and Gary. Gary's.
Yeah. I
can't remember us losing many close games. We always would.
I think if we got on top, Gary, if we got on top in a close game, we won.
Yeah.
So what was the change that was made then? I know that, you know, change of pro and Gary's had another season. You've got some experienced players, but how did your mindset change? I guess
Fleggs just gave you that belief you could play cricket. He gave you that. I think he gave you that. Obviously, the season before we won 3 in a row at the beginning of the season, so you know you can win games. But then, how do you finish a game if things aren't going your way? And that's what Fleggs gave us. He gave us that different mindset. Doesn't matter if somebody puts a partnership on. Doesn't matter if you lose 3. We just keep grinding. And I think we could get on top of 6 teams.
Yeah.
And how did he?
I think that's the Australian mentality.
Yeah. And how did you see your role in that, Chippy? You know, as a keeper, you know, I think what number would you typically bat? 9, 10?
Jack.
Yeah. So
it depends. If you look at that scorecard, I think I've batted 8, 9, 10, 11.
Yeah.
It didn't matter to me where I'm. No, it didn't matter.
We haven't touched on your batting. You know, you've sort of been about your keeping, but when we did get around to it, that was one of the things I was going to say is that you looked $1 million a lot of time out there. You know, very technically correct, good players with good strokes and stuff like that. And the temptation to push you up the order because you know you didn't look like a muppet who didn't know which end to hold was always there. And I don't know, I cast my mind back to another time. And it maybe should have took a punt and done that. Say, right, 5 games or whatever, 6 games. You know, that's what we're going to do. That's at 6 or 7 or something. But I don't know. It just always seemed to be maybe the make up the side or whatever. I bottled it a bit. But so definitely batting. There were a number of times where you would grind out to 20 odd and get us to a semi-reasonable score that you know, get Jez and Pro on bowling 20 overs each. You know, we got half a chance sort of thing. But yeah, that I think you were underestimated with your batting.
Yeah, and then we do when we met at Littleborough, we had a laugh. Chippy and I had quite a few decent knocks. I just been flying through the score. We won the first 5 games that year. Did you realise that, guys?
What, Fleggs' year?
His second year.
Yeah.
In '96, Chippy got injured.
Yeah, I did my knee, didn't I?
Yeah. So Higgy had to come back in. But again, a lot of those games are really tight, close games. And just going on from what Chippy says, Joe, Fleggs had that mentality of what Dan spoke about at the last podcast of, you know, working things out, being a team, that we will battle with this, we'll work out how we can win it. And there were some real close games that we really shouldn't have won, but because of the team spirit. And that's not a slight on what went on before, you know, with the era before us, but I don't think they had that. I think it was very much it's East Lancs or Hasley or Burnley, we're getting beat here, let's walk away from it. So how much of that season did you miss, Chip? I'm just flying through. I'm down to June.
4 games maybe.
Yeah, you're back in early June. Yeah, you are.
Joe, you've been very lucky because I've got horrific.
Have you?
Horrific, yeah. I've snapped both screws, so my knees are shot at. So I don't know for what you've done now, game-wise, long mate. Keep doing it, mate, while you can.
I just wonder. I think we maybe what we're up to now, Joe Martin. I know you're very modest, but I think you owe it to the fans of Lowerhouse Cricket Club to explain how many on a trot are you on now.
I think it's probably 310, something like that.
Consecutive games.
Yeah. 20 to the back end of 2010 was
Like 15 seasons.
yeah.
Imagine if you had a social life.
I mean, that was good. That's what I was about to say. That's what I was going to say. I mean, it's a real show of my of the amount of things that I do, isn't it?
Chippy, can I just ask you one thing?
Of course you can.
Jez obviously mentioned earlier you were quite vocal behind the stumps, and then obviously we've talked about going back to Burnley to play. Did any of that ever come back to bite you? Did you ever get any towel-ins at the hands of your old club or not? Verbally, I mean.
Every single time I play.
Did you? Yeah.
To be honest, I'm probably the most hated man at Burnley, but thrive on it.
Right.
To thrive on it because I'd love to know what my record is of playing against people one more than others. And I used to get under the skin. And I think that's another thing for the Sean Flegler second season and first season. I think I started to become a little bit more vocal, Gary. Yes?
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah.
I think I had a little bit of confidence having been there a couple of seasons. And I think I could get under people. I think keepers, unlike you.
Oh, well, I was going to ask if you thought it was really important as for your role as a keeper was to intimidate is probably not the right word. I think get under the skin. I think get under the skin is and just make them feel a bit uncomfortable.
I think you've got to be careful with it. But I used to chat to them. I used to say, you need to use your feet. You're going to struggle to use your feet. You need to get the picture ball. And then I'd get signal for arm ball or rolling, and then they'd sail straight past them. And I'd be stood there laughing. You need to, it's a bit of gamesmanship in it. I don't think I've got away with that one. I forgot to tell it. In Gary's first season as captain, I'm on the front page of Evening Telegraph, yeah? Yeah.
That were another moment.
Well, tell us that one, Chippy.
So, obviously, in our day, there were no internet. And obviously, the first thing you wanted to do on a Monday night was go and get Evening Telegraph from paper shop. So, I ran home from work, go to the paper shop down the road in Rosegrove, because I worked just at the top of Accrington Road, ran into the paper shop, seized the front of the Telegraph, but I saw it on the billboard outside. Headline, 4-letter word, causes cricket rumpus. I thought, what's gone on here? So I shot into the shop, bought paper, and I read the first bit, calm professional, Chris Killen. I thought, how funny. We had problems with that prick yesterday. So started reading the paper, Lowerhouse wicketkeeper. I think, what has gone on here? So I thought, I need to get home quick. Too late. My dad had already got paper. You better sit down. And I had to plead my ignorance because our friend that hasn't turned up this evening because he's ill sold me right down the river. Because I'd have showed him where the changing rooms were, and Matt gave him the biggest volley of abuse you'll ever hear in your life. And I copped for it.
Oh, so it wasn't even you who said it?
Right, I might have said to him, look, showers are that way, leave us a bit of hot water because he had long perm there.
All right.
Off the pot.
There's no 4-letter words in that.
Joe, he's nicked it to first slip and stood there and said he answered. Right. I've gone full length dive in front of him, and Matt's in the biggest volley of abuse, and he'll still deny it.
I think that brings us on. That brings us on to a good segue as to where Gary's taken the team. With progress, we finished 6th again, and then we move on, and the Motti comes, and the Rugrats are starting to come through. I feel we're still in a great position. Matt, he's taking over the captaincy, and you and Matt were like Laurel and Hardy, in the team. The banter, the laughs, and I've got to be perfectly honest now. And we've chatted about it, me and Matt and other people. I think we just went too far at times, not with the on-field activities or anything, but I think it almost went back to being a bit more of a social club. Than where Gary had driven us to. 98, and again, we can't help but, Motti comes over. It was a fantastic year with us. You know,
You
but we
purposely skip past 97.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, is Motti, if it's Motti's the bad year for us socially, I think we needed that from 97.
Yeah, no, I
97
got
was
stuck
brutal.
there. I was thinking of going from Flegs into the 97 season, which we've done to death on all these podcasts, but people absolutely love it, Chip. So, and again, for the benefit of the listeners, when I'm stood outside in my front garden on a video call with this idiot, and he's in Loughborough now, he's telling me, but then he's telling me he's living in Poland and he's flitting from Poland, Costa Rica to Loughborough, and we're having a good catch up. We started talking about the laughs, really. You know, we've got over the sadness, the Corrie, and I mentioned to Chip, we do the podcast and it's really good fun. You will have heard of that. And he went, are you joking? What's that all about? Have you done a couple of podcasts? I said, well, we're up to about 105. So that was a Thursday night, and he listened to 72 up to Sunday lunch.
Sunday at Littleborough, yeah?
Yeah. And he's texting me, well, I didn't understand that happened. I can't remember when Matt did that. And whoever said that is lying through the teeth, that one thing. And that person that was snogging out dance floor were actually so and so.
Yeah.
So Chippy gets into the podcast, and you can see, Chip, that, you know, there are some serious subjects there. We have a laugh and a joke, and that's what it's about. But people do like to try and understand and listen to that season. So as a wicketkeeper,
What season are we talking about, Jess?
97, when Corrie came over.
Right, okay.
You know, you were stood there seeing his, you know, the best bowler I've ever seen as a left arm spinner. You give us your take on the start of that season, how it progressed, and then what happened ultimately in the end. Just tell us your version.
Well, I think, my personal opinion, he took me to a different wicket because he was absolutely bowler-wise, left arm, take it away to right-hander, and then you think he's just going to take left-hander, and I worked out quite early, could bowl a wrong one, because he bowled his arm from like shoulder high, could take it away to left-hander. On his day, he were unplayable. Absolutely. And he just put it, you could drop a 10 pence piece. I used to go down to 10 overs, and it was the same mark. His bowling was just phenomenal. He great.
Yeah.
Well, bowler, sorry.
Yeah, and it was. I mean, there's 3 or 4 tales that I've been told over the last week that I will prompt you to please to tell everyone. But at the start of the season, once again, you know, it didn't really work for us. We were trying to get the camaraderie up, but we had a sportsman dinner. I think it was Bruce Grobbelaar at the Kirby, and you were down there with us. What's your memories of that dinner and the day or two after that, Chip?
Obviously, the players were meeting in town for a few days beforehand. So I think Jez shot off to meet the pro with Matt, and then us guys walked up, and then I saw the thing in a green blazer stood next to Jez, and I said to him, "Please tell me that's not pro. Please. I hope is it pro's dad? Please tell me it's pro's dad. He brought his dad with him." And then it became very apparent very quickly that was, and I shouldn't say this, but on looks, was bitterly, just didn't look really.
No.
Not much bad. Legs for 2 years. It was like a jack in a box.
Yeah.
Fit as a butcher's dog. Could probably run from here to Australia. And then unfortunately we signed the thing.
And then, I mean, it was a fantastic night, and he wanted to have the nets. But then unfortunately, I don't know if that was Matt's first year as captain. I think he'd done a few the year before. But Matt had a bit of a mishap. I think you were there, Chip. Just talk us through.
I were. So on the way home, we were going up to Sunderland the day after to Mickey Gein's wedding. And I was stopping at the famous Prince Street. And we got pulled up on the Coalcliff Lane in the taxi. We got out the taxi, and Matt decided to go for the last pie in Oddie's window. And went through window in Oddie's on Coalcliff Lane. It's 2 days before season starts.
Yeah.
He keeps telling me there weren't a pie there, and there were a pie there. So you went down through the window trying to get it.
And he's hurt himself a little bit there, but he's managed to get on through the season. And then, you know.
Well, Jez, we've done then an all-day wedding, and we've had to fly back on Sunday because we're playing church away. And unfortunately, I took a turn for the worst down the leg side off Ryan Esker, who smashed me straight in ice off.
Oh, yeah?
This were before the days of helmets, keeping stood up, and I copped for one. I think Nicky had to keep rest of the game, and I think when I came back from hospital, stitched up, whatever met me.
Yeah.
I think Nicky had to keep against Corrie, and did Corrie get 9 for?
Yeah, he got 9 for her, but I think 7 or 8 of them were bold or LBW.
Bold, yeah. So I missed Corrie's first real innings at bowling spell at church because I spent most of it in hospital having my eye stitched.
Well, that's it. Yes, because he had 3 LBs, 2 bowled, 3 bowled, so 3 LBs, 3 bowled, and then there was 2 caught sub.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, don't even know who that were. Because
No,
I weren't there. Yeah, it
Nicky's
was my
got
sub.
off. Yeah.
Wait,
That
Bron,
were,
did Bron not tell us he once did one?
It might have been Bron. Because I wouldn't have thought we'd have had a 12th man. So it must have been man. It has to have been.
But Oppo, you used to get one from Oppo's team, didn't you, back in day?
Oh, you'd be devil, wouldn't you? There, one of their lads has fought 2 of their lads, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he got some grief.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've missed that initial, the first burst of
Yeah. So I didn't really see that bowling performance really as a keeper, which I was gutted about. Really, to take 9 wickets is something doing.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, and for us to beat them, and then as the season progressed, cracky, as I said, we've done it to death. What happened with regard to camaraderie and the different issues around, the pros should be able to bat, or at least do 2 of the 3 disciplines. And you've spoke highly of him. Just talk us through the times when you and Matt would be at slip around. Matt picked up the wrong one after you, didn't you? When we say the wrong one, for listeners, it's almost like a left-arm leg spinner that it's a Chinaman that it's so difficult to pick. It spins the opposite way, which you would expect it to. You picked it, Chip, I think, after 3 or 4 games, and Matt took a bit longer. What were the banter like in the slip quarter?
Oh, yeah, Matt was funny. Matt didn't have a clue what was coming. Matt did not have a clue what was coming. Chip, you need to shout at me when this wrong one's coming. I can hardly tell you, can I? Because batter will know. But I can honestly say now, I don't think any batter that season, pro or amateur, could pick the wrong one. Nobody could pick the wrong one because they watched his hand, and it wasn't from his hand. It was from his arm.
Yeah, and it's you finished with 20.
No, I had 38 victims
30,
that season.
yeah.
38. I missed out by 1. And I did some research this week, knowing all coming on here, and I think I did 8 games that season without a victim.
Right.
So 38 in however many games, but 8 of them games I had no victim.
Yeah.
And I think Dave Whitehead won it with 39.
That's right.
I remember practice night were hilarious because when you batted against him, you'd be like shouting, "Wrong un!" and just smack it back over his head. It was fuming, proper fuming.
Yeah. Yeah, to be fair, I think I always tried my best, right? And I always tried my best for him because I think we were in that position that season. When you look back now, did his batting, we lost the league by 5 points? We were 5 points off.
Yeah, we needed to beat East Lancs, didn't we? And a few things.
But with 4 no results that season. So I think we got robbed by weather as well, if I'm honest. Because I think our batters, we had some poor batting, and he wasn't a batting pro. But I think we got robbed as well, I think. Maybe 2 games because of rain.
Yeah.
You're right, Chippy. We had 4 no results because of weather, and Haslingden, who won the league 5 points more than us, only had 2.
Yeah. See, so if you take them 2 games into consideration, and he would have bowled them 2 sides out, that league, we all thought, even to the last game, we were going to win league.
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
To the last game, didn't it? I played the last game with a broken knuckle because Matt said, you need to play. You have to play.
Yeah.
And I broke my knuckle.
Yeah.
And I said,
and then, and again, so then we move on. I still think we're progressing, but that did technically set us back a little bit. And then Motti came over in 98 and we finished 10th, which was so disappointing really with the side we had. I don't know if that knocked the stuffing out of us, but that's cricket, isn't it? You've got to keep up and you've got to keep improving.
I think we had some good performances of that season though, Jess, because we got to the semi-final at Intertoto Cup.
Yeah.
I still think we were progressing. I do.
And you said that it massively improved your keeping, Chippy. What kind of impact did it have on it. I mean, it's
I think-
never
I
easy
think-
keeping to a spinner, is it? I don't.
No, it's not. It's not easy keeping. Is it,
Thank
really,
you.
let's
It's
be honest?
reasonable.
No,
Somebody
it's not.
reasonable on the podcast.
No, listen, me and you could talk about it for hours. It's not easy, especially stood up at Lowerhouse. It's not, because it's a low track, and you've got to get used to that. But I think he just made my confidence grow that season, if I'm honest. He gave me the belief that I could wicket keep. And I know Jez said that I came as that, and Gaz said I came as that, but I think year on year, I think I'd better, and I think that was the one that helped me just push that a little bit further, I think.
And did you get on with him or not? Or did nobody get on with him?
Nobody.
Nobody.
No, I mean, it's a tough one. You try your best, don't you? But when somebody's telling you to go and get the coffin out the car,
Yeah.
unfortunately, Jez was laughing. I couldn't. There's a right and a wrong way to speak to people. He said it to Dave Wall. He said it to me. Go and get me coffin out of my car, boy. So I give him, get your own. And I missed the word out there. So I couldn't hear my pod. Because I just don't think that's how you should talk to young players and to your teammates. It's just not how you do it.
No.
Just don't do it. He just wasn't a nice fella. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Great bowler, and I think obviously we had a lot of issues that season where it split a lot of supporters. They weren't in the same changing room. It was hard work.
Yeah, it was. So then we go on to, we had this discussion, Chippy. It was 99 the year we got to the semi-final of the Intertoto Cup, and that was Martin's.
Yarra? I thought it was Motta.
Yeah, no, it was Yarra. And that year was a good year. He came and he was extremely, typical good South African that knew his game inside out. How did you find keeping to him, and that season when we finished fourth that year in the semi-final of the Intertoto?
He was a different machine, weren't he, Martin? He's phenomenal. I've never seen a batter like it, professional.
No.
And to be fair, his bowling was fine. His bowling was good as well, to be fair.
I was just going to ask you that. He realised amateurs' limitations when they were batting, so he would bowl darts.
Yeah, he used to just fire it in.
He would just fire it into the pads and rely on the wicketkeeper. Was that frustrating for you? Because that's not,
Yeah, no, it's not. You go back to Corrie's year, and obviously he bowls it good length, spins it away, spins it in. You'll know this. There's nothing worse than taking a ball full, because you don't know where it's going to go. You're in lap at God's.
Yeah.
You're in lap, but I think you adapt to it as well. You have to adapt to it.
Yeah, and it is. He was a winner, was Martin. There's no two ways about it. He was there to get us maximum points, and to win us the league whenever he could. And we have chatted through that. And then 2000, Martin comes back. But I don't know what your thoughts are, Chippy. But we seem to. I think Martin got very frustrated that we hadn't improved as a team. I don't mean individuals, but as a club, I think he felt he was frustrated. A little bit like Danny's with the first team now, wanting to get the best out of them and pushing them.
I think he changed Danny then.
Yeah.
But then, to be fair, I think Johnny Russell started playing it for his team then. I think he was keen on bringing in new faces as well, weren't he?
Yeah.
And trying to push the youth.
Yeah, trying to push everyone. Yeah, get the best out of everyone. Yeah, Charlie's playing regular.
Yeah,
playing quite a bit. Yeah, Paul Stanley and Mus was playing a bit as well. So it was, we're going through that.
And it was tough that season, I think, because obviously I was Nicky's vice.
Yeah.
And then I think Nicky went away, and I captained for 3 games. That's the infamous Frank Entwell podcast where he was, what did he say, on whiz. So let's go back to that tale. We're playing at Haslingden the game before, and Nicky's took me for a walk round the ground, and he said, Chip, you'll be captaining next 3 games, but I want you to open the batting. Don't be making excuses to me when I come back why you've not opened. You need to open the batting. So obviously, I knew Frank were off on one. So I said to him that day, you're opening batting. I'm not bothered what Nicky, you're opening minute. And he went absolutely berserk. He kept taking that lad over at top at school.
Yeah.
And I just thought, well, it's paid off.
Yeah.
And then Nicky got his own back that season and made me open twice against James Anderson as a punishment.
So, we moved then through to 2002 and just around that period, Chip, how was your cricket going? What was in your mind and how things were going?
2002, so let's put it out. I threw my teddies out at prom, end of 2020. 2000, sorry. So I put him for the captaincy. I think Frank put neither.
It's a game Frank didn't get it.
Listen, I said if he gets it, because I thought there were only me and him in for it, then, because I was vice captain, I've been Nicky's vice captain for a season and a half. Were I captain material, I've no idea. My record is played 3, won 3, captain for Lowerhouse. 100% Jez, you know what I mean?
Exactly, get in, mate.
But if that's the club's way, and that's I'm big enough and ugly enough now to admit I threw my toys out, and I didn't leave Lowerhouse at the end of 2000 to go and play for another team. I went to go and play golf. At the time, Jack had been born that year, so it was a tough year, and yeah, I was upset, bitterly disappointed. Maybe in hindsight now, I wish Jez you'd have come round to my house and shit out to me, and then maybe I'd have seen sense. But I didn't.
Things happen for a
Yeah,
reason.
no, absolutely. And then I ended up wanting to play golf, and then got blagged off Johnny Harvey to go and play at back, and I just didn't enjoy it at all.
Was that the same year? Was that 2001 that you went to play?
That's 2000. I played 2001, sorry,
Yeah.
and a few games in 2002. I came back to Lowerhouse in 2000, and I should have just put my big boy pants on and rung Matt up and just said, I've made a mistake. And I wanted to.
Did they give it to Matt? Is that when they give it to Matt?
That's when Matt got it, yeah.
Right,
And Matt rang me and said, look, I want you to be my vice, but like the big baby that I am, yeah, I just kind of.
So when you moved to Baxton, Chippy, what was different? Because obviously, you know, you'd enjoyed the seasons playing for Lowerhouse, hadn't you? You know, brilliant set of lads. And
Listen, Joe, Lowerhouse for my family, it's more than a cricket club. And I've listened to so many people on these past say this, and it's true. It's not a cricket club, it's family. And I let a lot of people, and it's not something I rest easy about. It's not. It is what it is. Like Jess said, things happen, we move on from it. And I came back because I needed to for my own sanity.
Yeah.
But to go to Baxter, to not want to play golf, and not get that opportunity to play golf, because Johnny Harvey's blagging me, but just not the same level of cricket. And that's no disrespect to him.
No.
But you've got Johnny Harvey that wants to bowl 70 mile an hour, he stood up to wicket and bowl it block hole, and another guy called Mark Cumberbatch, who played Minor County, who did exactly the same. That's not my idea of fun, Joe. I don't know about you. Not when you stood up.
No, definitely not.
Bowling it block hole constantly start. And to be honest, I probably, for the games that I played, I don't know how many I played, but I probably only kept 10% of them because I just didn't want to do it. Just ended up short leg or doing whatever. If anything, I was trying to do a bit more batting really than anything else.
Right.
Chip, we've obviously had this conversation, and I've said to you, you don't need to talk about things like that. That's not what the podcast's about. But I do get the impression over the last couple of weeks that it does assist it, that it has maybe helped you a little bit in saying what you said and meeting these other people. So credit to you for having the balls to do that.
I think it's 22 years overdue, Jez, if I'm honest.
Yeah, and long may it continue that you're coming back down the house when you're over in.
Listen, I'm back in Loughborough this weekend. I'll be at Turf on Sunday. Don't you worry about that. Don't you worry about that. With bells on.
You have to get your Lowerhouse cap for that. Some Lowerhouse gear to wear.
We'll have to get out of Doc Martin. Chip, fantastic. It really is good to catch up with you and for you to tell those stories. We are going to continue if everyone's all right with it. I want to talk about, the game on Sunday. I want to talk about how the players are feeling, the build up to the Worsley Cup. And then, Chip, we'll come back, and I think we should finish the podcast around any of the little stories you've got. I've got hundreds of stories that I can remember. Not many that I can really put out on here. But so, Gav, you were there most of the game on Sunday. We had a good watch. I'll give 30 seconds of my assessment. Pitch looked good, from afar and quite close up. Probably didn't have the pacing early on. I thought it had, that it would have had. Did you think we'd scored enough runs, Gav?
At one stage, I was hoping that we got to 180 for something to bowl at, like I said earlier. And the fact that we got 200 psychologically, we have a bowling attack. The way that we have been bowling and taking wickets and catching as catches, I thought we were in a really good shout, especially if you have an early look at 3 and 4. And obviously, lo and behold, first ball of their innings, we get a hell of a player out, and it's a good grab from Ben. And you know, the run that the first team were on, you know, the full of confidence, attitude that they're good players. They just seem to have gotten, you know, the old cliche is winning's a habit, you know, and it seems to be that now. When we put a team under pressure, like I said earlier, they don't seem to. There's no let up, you know, and fair play to them. You know, it must be it's a good league full of good players and good teams, but I don't think there'd be too many putting their hand up to play against us at this moment in time. The form that we're in. So
I agree 100%. And sorry for interrupting there, but let's just I just want to analyse that first bit because you know, I was on early. I was all excited about watching it. It's a sunny day. Ben and Johnny started. They're a good side. You know, the bowlers that they've got. You know, the left arm spinner board, and he's so tight. I thought they did a great job, Ben and Johnny, in getting to where they got to. And I was, you know what I'm like at thinking and predicting. I'm thinking, right, you know, let's see this lot out the game. Let's get 240, 250. And then, as you've said, we can defend it very well. It seemed bizarre how Ben got out and then Johnny got out in really nothing shots. Tom similar, and then the pro settled it all down. And then the pro got out similar. So, as you say, I was thinking 180, is that enough? But how well did Charlie bat, you know, with the pro? And then Paddy again, you know, it's 29 off 32 balls. Doesn't seem like it's going to change the season, but that was some knock, I thought, Garth. What were your thoughts about that? The end of the innings?
Yeah, exactly. You know, just to echo what you said there, you know, I mean, the pro, you could say, you know, has earned his money and, you know, he's an experienced player. He's not a kid. Come in and read the situation like he has done a few times and batted well. But so tough for Chunk, you know, come in, you know, at the start of the season, am I going to play? Am I not? You know, if you need me, I'll play. Oh, come on, of course we need him to play. You know, he's still hell of a fielder, still integral. I would imagine in that dressing room, just for his attitude more than anything. But you know, for him to come out, you know, in front of a decent crowd in a big game, you know, we needed to win that really. You know, and he's superb in his Chaz, and you know, it was great to watch. Yeah. And then, like you say, you know, Paddy comes in, you know, and you know, fair play to Paddy. You know, he could be a little bit disappointed. Perhaps he might have thought I could have come in before now, but with a good side, we got all the way down to 11. You know, and he came out and did what Paddy can do, and fair play to him. You know, just a really good first half and a really good batting performance from the team, not just one or two or three or four. You know, they batted all the way down, and like I say, it got us to a decent total. You know, and the boys did well.
I didn't. I'll be perfectly honest. I didn't think it was enough at the halfway stage. Joe Martin, when you know Charlie looked in good nick, Charlie Gansler that is, and then played a poor shot. I felt the batting order seemed to be, you know, Hawkey's coming in, and then your Paddy, and then Simi after him. You know, could Simi have accelerated a bit more? And I don't want you to give any secrets away, Joe, but what's the feeling like in the dressing room? We've all been there when you're down at 6 or 7. And next thing, I mean, there's a few times when Gary was captain, people padded up to open batting or going at 3 and ended up going in at 11. What's the attitude with the players? How do they feel about the changing in the batting orders at the last minute?
Well, I think my track record on the podcast would suggest I'm probably give anything. So as a result, it's fundamentally it's a team game, right? And decisions are made not personally, but because you're trying to win a game. So whatever Ben and Stanley and Dan and the other, you know, senior players in the team think, they are, you know, putting batters in to try and move the game forward, and try and be positive around that. And sometimes, you know, no one ever gets decisions right 100% of, but they're made for the right reason. And yeah, I mean, but when you look at the order, you could argue lots of different configurations of them, right? Because, you know, everybody in that team has a 50. You know, some people batting down the order have had 500, and therefore, you know, they could bat anywhere. So you know, if you wanted to, you could swap Simi and Hawkey and do something slightly different. You could swap Charlie Gansler and Paddy, or even move the whole order around, and you'd still get a good output. So everybody's just trying to work towards winning games of cricket rather than personal.
And it is, I mean, that is a really good answer, because you didn't properly sit on the fence, but you weren't going to give all sorts of weight, and it worked, so we can't, I certainly would never criticise Ben, even if it didn't work. But I think the point I was trying to make is that there's times, and we've probably all been there, where you were expecting to bat a little bit higher and you're going a little bit lower, and because of either you're sulking or because you're fed up with one of your players, you're not performing like you do. But the way Paddy, manipulated the strike, the way you helped him out, Simi helped him out, a great deal. He's got us past that 180 all out with 5 overs to go to, a big 200. Dooch, I'll come to you in a minute. Just regard that score. As I said, I completely got it wrong. I wasn't sure it was going to be enough. They're pro and back with some good amateurs. What were your thoughts at half time?
Actually, with you, Jez, I wasn't sure that we got enough, just because of how our innings had gone. We kept sort of getting into a good position and then losing 2 or 3 wickets quickly. Some of the wickets weren't great shots, as you said earlier. I just thought we kept giving ourselves a chance to really put the hammer down and then not taking it. But you don't really know from sitting on the side. You can't really tell what the pitch is doing. The pitch looked fine to me. But speaking to Paul in the second innings, he'd said that the lads had said it was pretty dry and difficult to get going on. And the lads were confident at half time. He felt that that if as long as they didn't get completely pro'd, that they were in a very strong position, and that's exactly how it turned out. But like you, Jez, at half time, I wasn't sure. I was just looking at some of our dismissals and some of the way that the innings have panned out. I wasn't sure if we got enough.
No, and it is, that it could be extremely frustrating. It could have been one of them games that they get off to a flyer. The pro looks settled. He just decides, well, I'm going to get 85 out and we'll win this. I don't know, Gaz, did you watch much of it on the stream? It probably looked good with the sun shining and a lush outfield and a white track. Did you watch much of it?
Caught the last 15 overs, maybe of ours, 12 overs. So I'd obviously seen the card, but didn't really see what had gone before. How we got to that point looked a bit disjointed, doesn't it, from the card? It's stop-start. But you can never trust that entirely. He looked, he did bat well. He never looked flustered, took calculated risks, some good shots. I mean, you look at that again. We said it right from the start. Strong side this year, all the way down. Confidence is running through the team. Everybody trusts each other. It looks really good. And then obviously they turn around the back. They've lost 1 game all season. So I guess if we'd have got 250, you'd still say we've got to have to play pretty well, given the top at league and they've lost 1 game to do it. But yeah, that's the first ball, Paddy again. Everybody's buzzing again, I would imagine at that point. And I think they were 5 or 6 down and had to go out. So this friend followed it online. It was,
and it just shows, doesn't it? Mother cricket, that last maybe 5 overs of our innings, it was warm. They got a little bit disjointed. Paddy didn't look in any trouble. Joe's looking great, just helping him out. And then they lose the wicket straight away. It just shows, you play 100 overs of cricket and maybe 35 balls can change it completely. So
Joe might have updated his stats as well, his bat first stats. I don't know. See whether that's it's on trend or not.
Yeah, massively. Yeah. Bat first, win the game.
I know. How many has he won now? How many tosses now has Ben won? It's quite a lot on the trot, isn't it? He's
top tosser.
Yeah, apparently he is. Yeah. So the plan, Joe Martin, it clearly was extremely successful. I'd just like to talk to you about. Paddy's doing such a great job of the opening the ball, and for an off spinner, all right, it's nice and dry. You can grip it and do it properly, but it's a brand new ball. People maybe are going to start attacking him. He's proved himself over the last, season after season, but certainly with this new ploy of opening the bowling with it. First of all, talk me through what that was like, but also it shows again, and I know England talk about this a lot, an extra 5-10 miles an hour of pace, even at that level, Tom Walker was outstanding at the way he came in and bowled at the outset. What was the plan for that for both of them, and what was it like seeing it directly behind the stumps?
Don't really know what the plans are, but they are. With Paddy, he bowls about round the wicket really tight. And the thing is about, I think, spinners is that you don't have to turn it massively, but if you turn it enough, it puts enough doubt in a batter's mind. So with a new ball, it's not easy. But he's done extremely well this year, as he has done for probably if you look at his stats for the past 10 years, maybe they're remarkable. So really excellent. And he's bowling well. Tom Walker, I think, Stanley was right. The pitch was dry, but it was hard, and Tom managed to get a lot of pace and carry out of it. And when I was keeping, could tell that little bit of extra pace made a difference. The ball was still rising as I was catching. Stood back and relatively far back. Not quite Ryan Harris, but fast enough. And then I made Chippy stand up in front of Ryan Harris, I think.
Joe, I stood up to Ryan Harris.
Yeah, I know.
And I thought, has he lost the plot, this lad, or what? Chippy, can you stand up? Sorry. It's not like standing up to Paul Stanley or Jez or Matt or Proc. Can you stand up at 90 mile an hour away at church? Sorry. Better get me helmet then, eh? Honest to God.
Well, you just say yes, Chippy, though, don't you?
Yeah, because he wanted to get Greg Smale out.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Good luck.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. What the one point Dooch brought this up at the start of this, and I don't know if anyone else saw it. And so they're 3 wickets down, so Davis is out. Friends come in, their wicket keeper, and Dan has said to we could see from the boundary. Dan told Tom to bring in the deep square leg, and Tom said no, leave him out. And 3 balls later, Henry's taking a catch out there. I mean, when on earth have we ever had a bouncing policy at Lowerhouse? Where
it shows the quality of the wicket, though, Jez. So credit to Stan and Dave, and I know Roger's on crutches, but there was a lot of bounce and carry on that wicket on the weekend. So it wasn't a bouncer ploy where you were bouncing them every ball to see what they could do, but when the wicket's like that, it gives you another option. You don't have to just bowl at the stumps or bowl in the channels. It means there's a bit of variety, and batters do. They can't just camp on the front foot, because Tom was pretty quick. He's a quick bowler.
Yeah,
that's like bouncing policy we had, Jez. When Swells played down there in back '97, like that fundraising gig for us, and we had to have bouncers on door that day.
They were the original Max and Paddies, were all bouncers.
Guys,
hilarious.
Only bouncers I know down at Lowerhouse when you're double winding Paul Rifle up, saying it looks more like a pistol than a rifle. Is that can you not bowl any quicker? That's when Stanley said to me, "Fuck this, we're going." If he's coming back on, we're off. That's his dad shouting from top steps. Looks more like a pistol than a rifle. That's it. Brian, wind him up.
Brilliant. I do remember you telling that story, Chippy. And all young lads are panicking about it. Will you shut up? Will you shut up? And Paul Rifle's listening to him and thinking, right, get these young kids out. So I'm going to wrap up for that game. We battered them after that initial. Once the pros out, it was a case of when we were going to bowl them all out. So a fantastic 12 points. We're going to have 2 minutes now on the build up to the Worsley Cup final. How we all feel about that. And then I'm going to come back to Chippy just to finish off. Thank him ever so much for coming on and close the podcast down with the legend that is Chippy. So, Dooch, I'll come over to you. The build-up to the Worsley Cup final, I think I've got this right. We're Burnley away Sunday, then Todd at home Saturday in the league and Todd at home in the Cup. What is the squad looking like? Is there anything you can disclose on the build-up to it? Are we missing anyone? Is anyone babysitting or unavailable?
We've got no Francois this weekend. He's away on holiday. So he'll come back to be available for selection for Cup final weekend, which is always an interesting one.
Yeah.
That'll be a chat that we have to have next week.
Yeah. how are the lads, as far as the selection side goes? Ben's doing, he's just getting better and better as he matures as a cricketer. He's a well-established, obviously well-respected player. Any nerves, anything happening on the build-up to it that you're
He's been
concerned
there,
about?
done it now, and he in cup finals, he's an old pro. He's captained a few of them now. He's just a regular occurrence for him, isn't it? I don't know how many cup finals. I think this will be his fourth as captain, I think.
Right.
Which is remarkable, really. He's probably been captain for 6 seasons, and he's been in 4 Wales the cup finals. But yeah, all
something I
good. I
wanted to
think
ask,
everything's progressing in the right direction. I think
That's something I wanted to ask you. This will be Ben's 6th cup final. Same for Charlie. I wonder how anybody's played in quite a lot of finals, isn't it? That.
Yeah.
Burnley went through that spell, didn't they? Getting to the final every
2004.
year when they were.
Yeah, there's 4 of them, isn't there?
Yeah, I think they got to 4 on the trot, didn't they? And then,
Yeah.
and you go back to Asland and East Lancs, they used to just fight them off. But maybe it's something you could research in your spare time, Joe, and see if you can find the answers for us. As far as the final, I want to come to you, Joe Martin, next with the build up to it and any. It's not great having a big pause like this when I can't think of the word. Any superstitions? Anything's going to change on the build up to it? How are the players going to be on the night before in the morning? Are you stopping in a hotel together or?
No. I'll be honest, Jez. I've not really thought about it because we have a very big game, so therefore we're front and centre on that, and then we'll see where we get. But if you can't enjoy it, then what's the point in playing?
So you're just short of saying we take every game as it comes.
Well, if you wanted to reduce it to that, yes, I can.
The next game's the most important, all that sort of shit.
Certainly.
Well, the next one is the most important one, isn't it?
Exactly, Chip.
Thank you.
So, Gav, finals day. You're not aware? Are you on the game?
Yeah, I'm on. Yeah. In Matt Stansfield's tent with Marquis and a few others. So yeah, we'll be having a few lemonade, shall we say? Yeah. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to a good day. Hopefully, we get the weather.
Yeah. Same here. It'll be fantastic. Unfortunately, guys, we're not going to commentate on it, or we're not going to commentate the whole way through because it nearly put my lights out. That trying to keep control of 12 idiots, each having 12 pints each by 3 o'clock. We might do an impromptu late on in the day if we can work out how to do it on Twitter and people are sober enough. So sorry about that, and sorry to the watchers of the final who'll be watching it on there. So Chippy, thanks ever so much for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me.
I know it has been tough, and you've got through. And I don't want to use the word issues, problems, demons, all that sort of shite. But you've done the right thing in reaching out to us and wanting to catch up and wanting to chat about them old times, because there's the funny stories that we can have. So great. So thanks ever so much for coming on. Is there anything you want to put to us? Anything you want to say? You've got as long as you want or as short as you want.
No, listen, I'm very, very super impressed now of what that Lowerhouse team's doing. We went to Littleborough, obviously Ben, last time I saw Ben, he was a young lad knocking up with his granddad. And now when you look at him, Joe panicking, he's giving a bit of argy-bargy at middle. And Ducci said that's because I was there. That's just been a bother he's had since I was there. But you can tell that team's got some fire in it. I watched this weekend, and my missus got the score bang on, Jess, so I owe her a pound, by the way. She'd say 207.
Really?
I was off. Yeah, I said 1-8. She got it bang on at 207. She knows absolutely nothing, and I mean nothing. But it's just great to see these young lads. I mean, look, 2 young lads are on there. They're my young lads, Ducci and Gav, the numpties, the young lads. They made part of my life down there. It were amazing. I used to love playing with these. But I just need to bring Gav up on something that he brought up in one of his about his dad umpiring.
Oh, yeah, you were keeping, weren't you?
No, I weren't.
You know?
I was captain.
All right.
And your dad said to me, "You know how I Gav bowls, don't you?" And I went, "No, Dave, I didn't know." He went, yeah, he's a decent bowler. Next thing, you've got 5 for, and your dad's given them all out.
Damn straight. Week after, I asked him to umpire again. Week after, Chip.
Our Gav bowls, does he? I thought he was just about to know his cheek. He bowls a bit.
I tell you what, if your dad can't back you, who else can, eh? Bloody hell.
Duke, I just need to say, do you know when you put 10 quid on Matt Marquis?
Yeah.
What does Jez's missus call it?
Collection box gate.
All climb on.
All
climb on. And you said you'll have 10 quid on Matt Marquis. Well, I'll have 100 quid on Matt Marquis, please. Don't forget what Jez said. Jez said he had some evidence coming that were 20 odd years old. Yeah, I'll have 100 quid on Matt Marquis, please.
I'll tell you what, there better be some apologies kicking around, I'll tell you. I got battered for 25 years because of that.
Other than that, Jez, no, it's been an absolute pleasure. And obviously, I'll be there on Sunday to watch against Burnley with bells on. And I'll be on the Worsley Cup final, Gav. So we'll have a catch up and I'll buy you a pint, mate. And you, Gav, more ice if you're there.
Look forward to it, mate.
Good man,
you're not there,
Good
Gav,
man.
are you?
No, I'm away, mate. I'll be in Flam.
Well, I'm around this year for a bit, probably for a couple of games at season. If you're down, let me know, and I've got your number now, and so we'll catch up for a pint.
I'll definitely be up again a couple of times before end of season, and I'll let you know.
All right, mate.
Brilliant. Thanks, everyone. Thanks everyone.
Guys. Thank you.
Contributions. Chippy, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. It's probably going to be 2 episodes this. It's got on for a couple of hours, but I've enjoyed every second. So thanks, listeners. Don't forget to subscribe and support the club and support the sponsors. And until next time, thank you.
Jez, can I have a final word? Can I join the 100 club, please?
Oh yeah, we've got 1 or 2.
Have you any spare numbers?
Yeah, we've got
awesome. Get me 100 club.
Spare numbers. We'll get you in it.
Right, nice one.
I think mine's spare, Chippy.
All right. Right, nice one.
Send more house to save the house.